And we are live. Good
Awesome.
afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's actually the last Thursday of April. I can't believe that April has gone through. I mean, for me personally, it went by pretty quick. The last time we were live, we were actually telling you about, and actually it was at the end of March. I remember we were telling you about our Taste of NAWBO that we had at the Europa Village Winery in Temecula. If you missed it, you missed out. It was an amazing event. But I mean, no worries. We do plan on having more events where you can still get to mingle, get to meet some of your NAWBO sisters, some of the other community business leaders. We actually met a few that we're hoping to invite them pretty soon. But again, my name is Maritza Gomez. I am your local Inland Empire chapter. We are NAWBO, the National Association of Women Business Owners. And we are a premier organization for women business owners in the Inland Empire, but we also, NAWBO is a national organization. We use the power of our voice on business and economic issues affecting women-owned businesses. Our voice is heard in Sacramento and at the national level. Our goal is to promote and enhance the growth and profitability of our member businesses. Our meetings provide relationship building opportunities. We sponsor educational and informational programs. We also engage in public policy efforts, and we support aspiring women business owners. That's our next gen. And I also want to thank our sponsors in no specific order for their continued support while we are still navigating through this digital space. And eventually we're going to start going back to our in-person or monthly meetings. But for now, let me again thank our corporate sponsors: Preferred Employers Insurance, Bank of America, Southern California Edison, US Bank, AMPAC, Metropolitan Water District, Soren McAdam, DH Castor, and SoCal Gas. Just really quick, national and NAWBO California have two big events coming up. One is Propel, which is happening next month. That's going to be on the 16th and the 17th. Registration is still open. Actually, it's kind of like a buy one, get one free until tomorrow. It's up in Sacramento. You don't want to miss the opportunity to meet with our local legislators, at least our California legislators. And then another big one that we have coming up, since NAWBO is an advocacy organization, we have Advocacy Days in Washington, D.C., and that is happening in June on the 7th and 8th. On the 6th, if I have my dates correctly, we are going to be installing the next chapter president. And I'm happy to announce, so I'm going to continue for another term as your chapter president. But now the reason why we are here, it's an honor, and I want to say it's a privilege to connect with individuals of the Inland Empire. As you know, the Inland Empire covers such a big demographic, but today we have Mr. Verious Smith from Startempire Wire. They are the leading startup publication of the Inland Empire. But Verious, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself a little bit further.
Thank you, Maritza, for having me. My name is Verious Smith, and I am the founder of Startempire Wire. We are a startup publication, the leading starting publication here in the Inland Empire. And the main focus of what we're doing with Startempire Wire is to inform and connect the local startup ecosystem with the best people, the best events, and the best startups. So
that's amazing. Well, when I met you, Verious, it was actually at an event for the community that was put together by the Inland Empire Center of Entrepreneurship, where they read the report. Mm-hmm. They did, they surveyed business owners in the Inland Empire. I mean, and that report, to me, as a business owner, it was, it's an eye opener because you would think that the demographic in the Inland Empire, um, it's for a specific group of individuals, but the majority, if I remember correctly, the majority are startups.
Right.
And I still remember one of the comments that was made, the Inland Empire, when people hear the Inland Empire, right away they're thinking San Bernardino and then whatever the news is covering in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was mentioned was having that news coverage. And you happen to sit right next to me. So I think it was meant for us to connect that day. Well, even we kind of connected that day, but later on LinkedIn. So what inspired you to start Empire Wire?
There's a lot of things that happened that really triggered me to get going on this. Part of it was the pandemic, everything shutting down, and then reopening back up. Before the pandemic, we actually started Startempire Wire, just like launched our first event. We did what's called the Founders Night, and that's a quarterly event. We did our first Founders Night December 17th of 2019. And then whenever next year came around, everything shut down. I actually kind of put Startempire Wire on the shelf for several months. And like somewhere towards like right around the time we were beginning to reopen. Before that, I had went to Texas, and Texas is my home. I'm just gonna say that. And I was like, man, I wanna move back to Texas. And a couple of friends were like, don't move, don't go to Austin yet, And I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been here since 2012. I moved here in 2012. And when I moved here, I knew nobody except for one person. And I ended up starting probably the first tech meetup in Riverside County, the WordPress meetup group. So from there, the WordPress meetup group, we began to consistently hold meetings for business owners to come out, get educated on WordPress, find out about, the technology and meet the community. That grew into 3 conferences, which was the Word Camp. And we held those in downtown Riverside. Big name sponsors like GoDaddy, Bluehost, all types of big name sponsors who sponsored us and became a partner to us holding those events, around $30,000 budgets, great events, 2-day events, come out, buy your ticket, get swag, everything. After the 3rd event, because I led the first 2 events, and then a member of my community led the 3rd event. So after the 3rd event, I realized, wow, I have such a short reach, because we only had 100 people come out. So I'm like, okay, how can I get people to know more about, tech here in the Inland Empire? And so I began to think about, okay, maybe we should start a website like TechCrunch, And I began to talk with some of the leaders of the city, because I skipped over a lot of the story, but I'm a part of an accelerator called Riverside Excite. I hold my meetup group there. And so we were trying to figure out, how can we get the name out about the tech companies and the tech scene here in the Inland Empire as well, because I was dealing with a lot of these startups and working with them, and they're my peers. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna have some parties and all this stuff. Eventually, one startup who raised, a really good round of on crowdfunding campaign, you probably heard of the name Back Porch Homes. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're in San Bernardino. They raised around $300,000 on a crowdfunding campaign. They just closed another round where they raised another $300,000. Wow. We were talking with them, and Back Porch Homes was, they were telling us, yeah, if you do something called Tech Empire, I'm not going to be a part of it because I'm not a tech company. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, So, TechCrunch, I was trying to model it off of that. And then another individual who used to work for the city, Steve Massa, showed me another website. He said, this is built in LA. You should build something like this. And I was like, okay, I'll take both of these ideas, infuse them together, and then do a little bit more, you know? So
Yeah.
really, it's not completely original what I'm doing. I'm just copying TechCrunch and another website called Built in LA. And I started that, and I've added in events, and I've added in a regular podcast. We're publishing one article per day. And the goal is to inform the community, to connect the community, and to eventually launch the data platform. We're building it while we're flying. We do believe in the lean startup methodology. So we're not waiting until the entire product is complete to launch it. So right now we've already started. The content as part of our product, you know, and we have a content model, which means that we put together systems in behind the scenes to allow those things to be published regularly and at such an intense pace. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the fact that you're saying that you're, well, not necessarily these words, but you're learning to fly as you go.
Yes, we're building it while we're flying.
Yes.
We're building the plane while we're flying. Kind of like the Wright brothers, right?
You're right. But I think most of the entrepreneurs should be like that.
Yes.
I'm also a business counselor with the Women's Business Center. And sometimes we get clients that say, I want to make sure that I have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted. And I have to remind them, you have to just go with it. You're learning as you're going, because you're going to build this big empire that nobody knows you're building. And by the time you open the doors, nobody's like, who is this person? You know, like, who is this business?
You're so right. And that's the problem that Riverside County, you know, I feel like Riverside County and San Bernardino County has this problem, the Inland Empire. We're very overlooked. We have a lot of, like, San Diego County has a lot going for it. You know, Los Angeles has a lot going for it. OC has a lot going for it. We're like flyover country out here, you know. People, they pass through, the trucks go to the warehouses, they deliver the stuff. We got a lot of stuff for logistics. It's great. Manufacturing, it's great. But then when you talk about startups, entrepreneurship, no, let's go to LA. And I'm just like, can we change that? You know? And I'm working, you know, like I believe, like, for me, it's all about creating a sustainable economy through collaborative efforts. So it's all about collaboration. So, like, there's a lot of skill we have in here. Things are just so spread out too. But I'm just like, okay, how can we, you know, how can I collaborate with whoever is here in the same mindset, trying to build a sustainable ecosystem, a startup ecosystem, startup economy, you know? And so
no, and yeah, I agree with you. We have so many amazing businesses here in the Inland Empire, but because either they don't have news coverage, because, you know, or maybe it could be just that Inland Empire business owners are not like, hey, look at me, look at everything that I've done, unless we're getting that coverage from the media. But even then, the media is only gonna, they'll interview you, or like the bigger idiom. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
They'll interview you, the bigger media, they'll interview you, but only grab the information that they feel is gonna get ratings.
Right.
And then organizations like yours, you know, you're giving us a platform to share about our products, about our wins, and then to remind people, you know, yes, we come from the Inland Empire. There's since we're talking about empire, there's kings and queens here in the Inland Empire.
Right. Yes.
I mean, yes, I love that. And thank you for not going back to Texas and for bringing a positive light to the Inland Empire. I mean, there's like, for example, the Spirit of the Entrepreneurship Awards.
Yes. Yeah.
Even that, not a lot of people know about it.
They
and
don't.
it's an amazing thing that they're doing, highlighting,
It's
giving
so
recognition. Yeah.
I love it. The Spirit of the Entrepreneurship, Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship. There's so much that we have going on, and they're doing a lot of yeoman's work, you know, here in the Inland Empire. And I'm just, I'm just like, that's awesome. The State of the Entrepreneur report that you did mention that we went to the presentation, where they mentioned that one red spot that we really need help in the region, that was news media. I felt that like several years back, and that's what we were talking about. And, I didn't even need the report, but just to have it confirmed is like, okay, cool. I was, my intuition was correct. And so I followed intuition on a lot of stuff and got a lot of stuff wrong, but that one I got right. The one thing I was going to say is that, the way, things are so spread out amongst the Inland Empire, the landmass. What is like 50,000 square feet or something? I can't remember. I saw it on Wikipedia. It's like around 50 to 70,000 square feet, around 4 million people here in the Inland Empire. Did you know that here in Riverside, I believe it's actually Riverside, there are more startups per capita than are in Silicon Valley?
Oh, wow.
Early stage startups. But the problem is the early stage startups never make it out of early stage because they don't receive funding. How does an early stage startup survive? What's their oxygen? What's their air? Money. They need that financing. How do you get money? You get attention. And with attention comes money. So like, that's part of what I'm doing. Like if a person wants to sell their products and they just hide in their basement, can't get it out there. So I'm like, okay, how can we create a megaphone for our region? And I'm just one. And you mentioned the other news outlets. There's a few. I've done a survey of the entire region. We have some large outlets like, Southern California News Group, Press Enterprise, and those guys. They do report on some things, but it's not consistently, and it doesn't give it the right credit. I know IE Business Journal, they're doing some great stuff for like traditional business community, but they're not reaching out to the startup ecosystem as much as what I'm focused on. So the way I look at it, I'm reaching out to all of the startup ecosystem, traditional business, from the person who is just getting started and wants to run a mom and pop shop. If they want to be a social entrepreneur, they're going to be able to be a part of Startempire Wire. If they're in a large corporation and they're an entrepreneur, that means, they're doing like large company startups inside of the company. That's reportable on Startempire Wire. They'll be able to be on Startempire Wire and engage with the startup ecosystem in one way. And then obviously your restaurants, your other things, it's all business related. It's an economic, getting involved with the economic development officers is one of my real focuses as well. So I like to reach out to them, and I'm still putting together like the framework necessary for different entities, because everything that I'm doing has to have a system behind it, because I'm not going to be able to scale it if I don't have a system behind it. And my goal is to really scale this, build the model here, and then I do want to scale it and go to, I actually scale it and move it like horizontally across the country, Las Vegas, Miami, Austin, Texas. And so that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, you did mention, and I mean, as you're speaking, and I'm trying to visualize it. These other outlets, and something that I've seen, like let's say that you get interviewed by the Press Enterprise as an example. Then right away another reporter's like, oh, you know what, their story is great, here, let me piggyback on your story and report on it. So it's based on that. But what I love that what you said is that you're interviewing people that are just starting up, that a lot of people overlook because, well, how long have you been in business? How much money do you make? Oh, okay, you know what? No, you don't fit our criteria. Let me move on to the next person. But you are actually giving them a platform. And I think that's something that we agree, because, we want to empower, not necessarily, I mean, we are a women's organization, but we do support, and we have the support of our NAWBROs. You are our NAWBRO.
NAWBRO, yeah.
NAWBRO, not NAWBO, but NAWBRO.
I like that. I like the NAWBRO.
The NAWBRO, yes. But I mean, that's why we're here, because we're advocating for business owners in California and on the national level. And it's not only going to affect us as women business owners, it's affecting everybody else. But
Yes.
yeah, the fact that you're shining light on the underdog, what people would consider the underdog, and then those that have been in business for so long already that, I mean, yeah, we need that. And you also mentioned technology.
Technology, yes.
Yeah, so in 2012, a lot of people probably were like, well, computer, I don't want a computer. I don't want to FaceTime and this and that. But I'm pretty sure now when people hear tech, they're like, yes, how do I join? How can I be on Google, or how can I do this, or whatever it is? But I mean, yeah, back in 2012, a lot of people didn't still feel comfortable because they saw these platforms as a way of, well, kind of like MySpace. Well, I don't want to go in there and connect with people. Now, I mean,
Yes.
that's how we're connecting. That's one of the reasons why our sanity was kept, because of technology.
Yeah, and it's inevitable. I mean, at this point, there's I would say there's a way that, things are going. Like, you're not going to be able to fight against it. You need to really adapt or die.
Yes.
That's harsh, but it's true. You have to adapt. You have to adapt your business and on every level. And so one of the things that, I would say right now, Startempire Wire, is more of a publication than a tech company, but like my background is all tech, high growth tech. And so that's why we're building the platform. At its core, the platform is a data platform, which is actual a tech company. But, outside of that, what I don't see any tech platforms amplifying the voice of early stage startups. Built in LA is a good example. They do it. They really, I like Built in LA. I like the Built in company. I like the model that they have. TechCrunch, it's hard to get on TechCrunch. You need to be like upper echelon. TechCrunch is hard. And then, like you said, Press Enterprise. Some of these websites, I understand when you have a really good website, an authoritative website, you have a valuable property. And there are ways that metrics that you can look at to say, okay, this property has built the value that will garner a lot of search engine attention. That's what we're focused on. We're focused on building Startempire Wire into an authoritative website, because we believe that you should own your own spot on the web. Like, that's the way that's what I teach everybody. That's why I'm such a fan of open source. That's the reason why I was attracted to WordPress in the beginning, because every business owner needs to get off social media only and move to their own website, produce their own content, and manage that. They need to learn that. Every business owner, every small business, every startup, because they need to be able to be found that way. And so I went into a little tirade, but yeah, the focus on small businesses, the focus on owning your own property on the web, the focus on amplifying another's voice and building a valuable property to be able to do that is really what we're focused on as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm glad you went on that rant, because it's important. It's another thing of us building our online presence, because I mean, yeah, social media, I think last year, right, there was a day where Instagram or Facebook, they were like not working.
Yeah,
and then
you
people
don't
were like,
control
what's going on?
You don't
Yeah,
control it.
no, yeah, you have no control over that.
If
I have.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if anyone was tracking, like, from the beginning of Facebook and the beginning of Twitter, these platforms, you were tracking your reach and how many customers you could reach. That was really, in the early days, it was amazing. But then you introduce, these algorithms and, AI, the way they set it up now, you have to pay to play, and you can't just be on the platform and talk with community. without paying, to get more reach. And so,
Mhm.
it's understandable, but like I said, if you want to kind of circumvent that and build something of value for yourself, get your own, get your own, you know.
Yeah. Another thing is even with the e-commerce,
Hmm.
well, we won't say any names here, but it's known as the blank for crafters. It's a
Oh, okay.
platform.
Yep.
It's a platform where, you could go in and sell your handmade items. Well, the price, I mean, I have a store there. The
Mm.
the fees they have
Yep.
increased a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
throughout. I mean, ever since I started in 2014, the fees, I mean, are ridiculous. I'm there, but I also have my own Shopify. We do
Yes.
have to go through a different platform, but at least I have control of how much fees. If my website goes down, it's not the whole platform and so on. But that's
Shopify
another
is a
thing
little
too.
bit better, but I'm going to be honest with you. A WordPress website is your own. And I had, I've had clients on Shopify that we moved to WordPress because you have full control over that. So it is a little bit better than the other one you were mentioning for sure. But at the end of the day, you really here's the great thing about WordPress. No one owns the code. You own the
Hmm,
code. It's open source. Every other platform, their code belongs to the
them.
company. Yeah, this WordPress is open source. And so you don't even have to do like the templated websites. You can do a completely custom WordPress application. And so that's the reason why I teach WordPress as well too. So, but
That's
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know that. I know that other platforms have their code. So if you accidentally go into the code and delete it, then you're
Right.
kind of you're it's not good. It's not good. Let's just say that.
Shopify
Um,
gives you a lot of freedom. You
yeah.
actually can go in and edit the Shopify code. You have a lot of freedom on there, and I give that to them because you can use like their programming language is called, I think it's Liquid or something like that. And I understand it. I've worked with it and I've used it. The thing is that everything on that platform is Shopify's. You couldn't run it on another server. You
Hmm.
know, you couldn't take the entire website up, run it on another server, connect to with your own payment gateways, and get away from their fees unless you move to another technology.
I moved your whole store somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, and
No.
you pay for your host. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it could be like you said. They're sharing. You can see their code. You can alter their code. But then I'm thinking, for now,
Right.
eventually they'll probably be like, okay, you have to pay a specific amount or be a premium or a elite member in order to have this, and it goes back to having to pay for it.
That's
um
true.
yeah, but sorry, I kind of diverted. See, that was my little rant
No.
on e-commerce. But I mean, yeah, everybody should Google themselves. Everybody should go
Mm,
in. I mean, I do it often, just to see. But something that I actually made a post about it today. We need to start using us as business owners. We
hmm.
need to be our own cheerleaders. We need to start saying, hey, I got these certifications, or I got this
Yes.
nomination. I did this, I did that. And sometimes we don't do that. And I actually made a post today. It's like, I'm learning to promote myself as a professional, as a business owner, as a community leader, because if I don't share it, it's like my business. If I don't tell you that I have a
Right.
business, you're not gonna know. You're gonna be like, Maritza, like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. I think I've seen her, but oh, it's Maritza XYZ. Then that's when you get people's attention.
I beg to say that people who don't share what they do are selfish. People who
Hmm.
don't want to get bigger are selfish. People who just want to stay small, they don't want to share their gift with the world. It's selfish. And
Yeah,
so
that's a good way of
that
putting it.
is a
You're
different
sharing.
perspective. It's a different
Yeah.
perspective, but you know, you can look at it. If you look at it that way, then you're like, okay, wow, I need to be out there and really talking about myself because I want to help. I have something of value to offer people, and when they know about it, then we can really take advantage of it. So
Yes. So any business owners that are out there and you're thinking, well, I don't want to share my accomplishments because people are going to think I'm showing off. Like, no, we want you to show yourself off.
Please.
It's a way to inspire other business owners, other future business owners, and just to continue to bring more positive light to our Inland Empire.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure how much time you have, Verious, but I know we can talk forever.
Okay.
When we chatted, one of the first times that we chatted, you mentioned a book, and I think you mentioned it again. Something about the ecosystem, startup ecosystem, or empire
Yes.
communities, something.
Startup Communities by
Mhm.
Brad Feld.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. What's your question about that one?
I loved it.
You love it.
I loved it. I was listening to it in the background while working. So I mean, I was paying attention, but not fully. But just
Awesome.
the pieces that I was able to retain is like, yes, that's exactly what we need to do.
Yes.
And all of us, all the different organizations, whether it's NAWBO, whether it's Startempire, the Inland Empire Center of Entrepreneurship, the Chamber of Commerce's, we are all at different levels of authority.
Right.
But we all have one thing in common, and that is to empower our communities. And I mean, we are all connected.
Yeah.
Whether it's one way or another, we are all connected. And I mean, the end goal is to lift up our communities.
Yes. And I'll mention, because you brought it up, I'll mention exactly the reason why I mentioned it so that people can know. The reason why I mentioned that to Maritza, because everything I'm doing with Startempire Wire was really inspired by that book. It was inspired. I've been through that book probably about 8 times already. And what I noticed about it was, the book, if you get an opportunity to get it, you should get it, get an audio version. It's really easy to listen to it. He talks about 2 groups of people in the startup ecosystem. And he breaks it down and says that in order to have a thriving startup ecosystem, that you need to have these 2 groups doing what they're doing. They need to be playing their role, basically, because there are leaders in the startup ecosystem, and then there are feeders. And the leaders are people who are the entrepreneurs. They're the entrepreneurs, they're the CEOs, they're the presidents. These are the leaders. And then the feeders of the entrepreneur community, of the entrepreneurship, our startup ecosystem, would be your government agencies, your universities, and people who are more in a hierarchical structure. So you got the hierarchy, which is command and control, give an order, follow the order. But then you got entrepreneurs in the other part where they're leaders. This is really important. The entrepreneurs leading in the startup ecosystem are the ones who will make it vibrant. Because if entrepreneurs are not leading it, you got a hierarchical top-down approach to a startup ecosystem, which doesn't encourage innovation or inspire, people to step out and take risk. Because people who work in government, they're great, but they're not necessarily, on the same level as entrepreneurs, because they have salary that gets paid anytime and all the time, but people who are entrepreneurs, they have to really hustle. They have to grind. And it's not something that, they're not taking orders from anyone. So the connections are going to be more organic. And so what in the Inland Empire, one of the goals of Startempire Wire is to encourage these organic connections and these people who are entrepreneurs to begin to lead the ecosystem and step out, do events, let entrepreneurs hold events, and then let government entities come in and support the events, become sponsors of the events. But the people who want to do these events and do these initiatives, they need the funding. And if you go back through Startempire Wire, after my analysis, we've done over 270 articles since like August of last year. We do 1 article per day. So we've done a lot. We've reported on the money coming into the Inland Empire ecosystem, and most of it is going to government entities and universities. And so that's not a good look for investors and people who are outside looking in. They want to see, what's happening in the ecosystem. And if the ecosystem is controlled by governments and universities, and the entrepreneurs are not up in front leading, and there's not innovation happening through these entrepreneurs, we're not going to attract investment the way that we need to this region. And so that's why anyone who is interested in this should go read Startup Communities.
Yes, I mean, I think that's a great visual, but if people are a little confused, once you listen to the book or you read the book, then what Verious is saying, it's going to make sense.
It'll make a lot more sense.
It definitely, yeah. I mean, you could say that I'm a position I work for, my part-time is for one of these organizations, and then I'm an entrepreneur. So like, I do see, after reading that, then like everything kind of made sense, or at least it gave me a better visual to understand. I mean, yeah, any funding that we are getting, even COVID funding, it's coming through organizations, and then it's being passed down to us. It's not directly to us.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of like connections, we do have various information on the description of this feed. You're welcome to connect with him. Go follow his social media pages, go listen, go read the articles. If you have something amazing to share, definitely let Verious know on events, anything that you want to share. I think Verious or myself would be a great start to start promoting and to start celebrating entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And also, speaking of events, I know you did mention you've mentioned Founders Night that you meet on a quarterly basis. So even how can people find out more information, or can you give us more information on the next one?
Oh, I can give you more information now. On meetup.com, if you go to Startup-IE, that is the meetup group that I run. And you can just join that meetup group. Whenever we have our next Founders Night, we'll put it on meetup.com as a meeting. We got about like almost 900 people in the Startup-IE group as well. So that is the best place to get informed of the next Founders Night. It's going to happen sometime in June. The last Founders Night, can I tell everybody what happened?
Yes, I missed it. Yes, please, because I missed it.
It was super. It was like smashing. Okay, so the last Founders Night was on St. Patrick's Day. So we came up with this cool idea. Everyone needs to be wearing green, right? On St. Patrick's Day. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Okay, I just went and got, $100 $1 bills out of my bank, and I was like, whenever anyone comes in, they sign in. Once they sign in, we give them a $1 bill on their shirt. And they walk around all night. It's a little out of the box. It's a little different, right? It's a little different. And then after the original mixing, we gave 5 startups the opportunity to pitch their startup, right? In front of the entire group. Around 60 people showed up, 60.
Wow.
Yeah. So at the end of the 5 pitches that happened, we instructed every person, hey, if you like their pitch, go give them your $1 and talk more to them. And that was just signifying that we need to invest and support our local startup ecosystem. And so we're probably going to repeat that again.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
I mean, I love that, because I mean, it's not play money, it's actual money.
It's real money.
You invested in the entrepreneurs, and then the entrepreneurs turned around and I can't think of the word right now, but invested, or they're helping another entrepreneur. I mean, and that's just the circle of entrepreneurship.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm also remembering another post that I did today. I was asking, and maybe you may even know somebody. I'm looking for somebody to come and service my fire extinguishers at the warehouse.
Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
know I can Google, but not everybody's on Google. And
Right.
it's also another sense of word of mouth, to
Yeah.
help all these other smaller businesses that may not have the team or the budget to get on Google, because you do have to get on it. Somebody
Yes.
has to put the information out there.
Right.
So if you know anybody, I'm preferably in Riverside,
Preferably in
um,
Riverside. Okay.
preferably in Riverside, that would be great. I mean, it's not a lot, but I want to be able to support a micro business that
Yes.
needs that support. If not, I mean, I'd be happy to travel if I need to, but within the Inland Empire.
Someone here may watching this video may know it, because I'll share this out to my feeds and as well. I'm not certain of anyone directly, but yeah, I probably have someone in my network for sure.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if anybody's watching, yes, I need somebody, not ASAP. I haven't had the fire department come and do their annual inspection, but I just want to be ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Verious, thank you so much for sharing space with us today,
Thank
for
you.
sharing a little bit of what you're doing for our amazing empire. Is there anything else that you want to share with those watching?
The only thing I would say is, if you're interested in what Startempire Wire is doing, please go to our website and subscribe to our email list. We will be push out emails weekly. Whenever we put out the weekly Wire Roundup, I don't know if I mentioned our publishing schedule is daily, and then at the end of the week. So right now, publishing news every day. At the end of the week, I do a video called the Weekly Wire Roundup, sitting right here in the same spot. And I just go over like a news broadcaster, talking about what did we write about, and then what are the upcoming events. If you have events as well, send those to me, because I will put them on the Weekly Wire Roundup. If you are not into just watching videos, find us on iTunes, Google Play, any of the major podcasts. We're on Spotify. Just search Startempire Wire. You can listen to the Weekly Wire Roundups. And we've also recently just increased our publishing of podcasts, interviewing entrepreneurs one-on-one, to 2 times a week, every Tuesday, every Thursday. We're pushing out 2 interviews of the entrepreneurs local here in the region. If you want to be interviewed, contact me, info@startempirewire.com. We'd love to have you on the podcast. We do have like a backlog of a lot of people already recorded, and we're planning on getting more. So please, let's sit down, do the podcast, and we'll get you on Startempire Wire as well. That's pretty much it. Follow us on social media.
Yes, follow him on social media. And if you, like you mentioned, if you want to know what's going on in our region, subscribe. Instead of listening to the repetitive radio, just come in and listen to, we all have smartphones. Some of us commute longer than others.
I have one more request.
Yes.
Not only subscribe, but share it with 10 people. Share it with 10 people, really, who you think are interested in it. So count it, 10. And then if you contact me and you shared it with 10 people, I have to think I want to give away some reward or something. I don't know. But yeah, share it with 10 people, please.
Yeah, like, comment, share. And even if you know of an amazing entrepreneur that they're not going to email Verious and say, yes, I want to be interviewed, nominate somebody.
Yes, I will make the phone calls. Listen, I'm a down in the dirt entrepreneur. Literally, that's me. I get down on the dirt. I call people. I email. That's me. So I will call them. Give me their information. I will bug them until I get them on.
Until they share their amazing story.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, Verious. And I mean, I'm happy and honored to announce that, Startempire Wire is also one of NAWBO Inland Empire's community partners.
Woo,
so we'll make sure to share, anything that comes our way, or that whenever we're on social media, same, if there's anything that you want to share, please send it to us, and then we'd be more than happy to share it with our members. It's part of collaborating to start our theme for the past 3 years for NAWBO has been igniting an empire. So we're going to continue to ignite. Yeah, thank you. We're going to continue to ignite our empire.
Well, if you look at it, Startempire is a double entendre as well. So it's like it could either be in startups in the Inland Empire, or you're starting your empire, you
Mhm.
know? So
Yes.
that's
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes. Well, again, thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your afternoon.
Yes.
You'll probably be busy.
Absolutely.
Yes, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Bye.